The kill switch just activated. Not on your phone, on your smart inverter. Your solar panels are fine, your battery bank is charged. But the inverter your installer required, the one with the grid tie safety feature, just received a remote signal to shut down. Mandatory load shedding. For grid stability? For the greater good. You paid 30 grand for energy independence, and they turned it off with a command you can't override. This is the future of preparedness gear. Remote kill switches, mandatory updates, cloud-connected dependencies. Every modern survival product needs permission to function. Permission from the manufacturer, permission from the grid, permission from systems that decide you're hoarding too much or aren't authorized. But there are 20 items that don't phone home, technologies that can't be bricked remotely, tools that work because of physics, not permissions. They're not illegal. They're just buried. And you're about to learn why manufacturers pray you never find them. Every prepper I know has a medicine cabinet problem. They don't know it yet, but they do. You've got your official first aid kit, the one with the Red Cross and the FDA approval stamp. You've got your prescribed medications, 90-day supplies if your doctor was generous. You think you're covered for emergencies. You're not. You're holding a collection of temporary fixes designed to run out at exactly the moment you need them most. Here's what the medical industry doesn't print in bold letters on the packaging. The system is built to keep you dependent. Every pill, every antibiotic, every life-saving drug sits behind a prescription wall that requires your continued participation in a system that can cut you off whenever it decides you're not compliant enough, not insured enough, or simply not authorized. Let's start with the biggest lie in emergency medicine. Item 1. Fish antibiotics. You know amoxicillin? You know ciprofloxacin. You know doxycycline. Common antibiotics prescribed for bacterial infections, respiratory infections, UTIs, skin infections. Here's what they don't tell you. The fish antibiotics you can buy at pet stores, the ones marketed for treating sick aquarium fish, they're chemically identical to human antibiotics. Same active ingredient. Same dosage. Same manufacturer half the time. A bottle of fish mox is amoxicillin 500 milligrams. A bottle of fish flox is ciprofloxacin 500 milligrams. No prescription required. No pharmacy gatekeeping. No insurance approval. You walk into a pet supply store, buy a bottle for $20, and you've just bypassed the entire prescription system. Why isn't this advertised? Because the FDA and pharmaceutical companies lose their gatekeeper power. If people know they can access antibiotics without a prescription, without a doctor's visit, without playing by the rules, the entire controlled distribution model collapses. Item 2. Veterinary ivermectin. Broad-spectrum anti-parasitic. Used in livestock, horses, dogs. Comes in paste form, liquid form, tablet form. The active ingredient is identical to prescription ivermectin used in humans for parasitic infections. Dosage calculation is simple, weight-based, same as human dosing. The veterinary version costs a fraction of the prescription version, and it's legal to own. The system buries this because it challenges the prescription monopoly. If you can treat yourself, you don't need their permission. Item 3. Potassium iodide tablets. Radiation protection. In a nuclear event, radioactive iodine gets released into the atmosphere. Your thyroid absorbs it preferentially. Potassium iodide floods your thyroid with stable iodine, saturates it, prevents radioactive iodine uptake. It's simple chemistry. Preloading with stable iodine blocks the radioactive isotope. Governments stockpile this for nuclear emergencies, but don't distribute it widely. Why? Because widespread distribution creates panic awareness. It reminds people that nuclear war is a real possibility. Better to keep it quiet, keep it controlled, keep you dependent on emergency distribution that may never come. Item 4. Expired medications. Here's the truth the pharmaceutical industry hides. Most medications remain effective decades past their expiration date. Military studies testing stockpiled drugs found that over 90% retained full potency 10 to 15 years after expiration. The dates stamped on bottles aren't safety limits, they're profit limits. Expiration dates force you to throw away perfectly good medication and buy new supplies. It's planned obsolescence for pills. Antibiotics, antihistamines, pain relievers, most remain chemically stable for years. The industry prints expiration dates to keep you buying, not to keep you safe. The pattern is clear. The medical system doesn't want you independent. It wants you subscribed. Recurring patients. Renewable prescriptions. A customer base that can't survive without access to controlled supply chains. These 4 items break that model completely. You own the medicine. You control the access. And nobody can cut you off. The cell towers went dark 6 hours ago. Your phone is a brick. Your satellite communicator shows searching for signal on a dying screen. Every modern communication device depends on infrastructure that can be shut off with a switch. In a crisis, information control is the first move. Cut communication. Isolate communities. Make coordination impossible. Digital communication requires permission. Permission from carriers, permission from satellite operators, permission from systems that decide you're spreading misinformation or organizing resistance. But there are tools that bypass all of it. Analog tools, physics-based tools, tools that work because of mathematics and light, not because a corporation grants access. Item 5. Handheld sextants. Celestial navigation. You measure the angle between a celestial body and the horizon. The math is mechanical. Know your angle, know the time, calculate position. No GPS satellite, no signal, no infrastructure. The device is optical. Mirrors, filters, degree markings. Can't be jammed, can't be shut off, can't be denied. GPS is a controlled system operated by the U.S. military. They can degrade civilian signals. They can shut off regions. A sextant removes that dependency. The stars don't require authorization. Item 6. One-time pads. Unbreakable encryption. Information theory proves this. Claude Shannon, 1949. If your key is truly random, as long as the message, used only once, the encryption is mathematically unbreakable. No computer cracks it. No quantum algorithm touches it. Perfect secrecy. Requires pre-shared keys. But once you have matching pads, your communication is invisible. Intelligence agencies fear this because it removes interception capability. They want you using algorithms they can break or backdoor. One-time pads can't be backdoored, just math. Item 7. Morse code flashlights. Line-of-sight communication using light pulses, dots and dashes. Over 150 years old, still works. Pure physics, no radio signature, no transmission to triangulate. Can't be jammed without blocking line of sight. Infrared LEDs make it covert, visible to night vision, invisible otherwise. Morse isn't taught anymore because it's too hard to monitor. Radio can be intercepted passively. Light requires physical presence to intercept. Mass surveillance becomes impossible. Item 8. Dead drop caches. Physical information exchange. Leave a message in a predetermined location. Your contact retrieves it. No digital trail, no metadata, no IP addresses. Intelligence agencies hate this because it requires physical surveillance. You can't tap a dead drop remotely. Cold War tradecraft, still effective. The best operational security is analog. In a crisis, power is control. Your smart grid-tied solar system can be shut off remotely. Your generator has a serial number registered with the manufacturer. Every modern energy system phones home and accepts commands. They can ration your output. They can turn you off. Energy systems exist that don't require permission. Systems that work on physics, not policies. Systems that can't be remotely disabled because they don't connect to anything. Item 9. Micro-hydro turbines. Flowing water generates permanent electricity. The physics is simple. Head height times flow rate equals watts. A stream dropping 10 feet at 100 gallons per minute generates about 75 watts continuously. Scale up. You power a cabin indefinitely. No fuel. No registration database. The turbine spins forever. Utilities don't promote this because once installed, you're done. You exit their customer base permanently. No monthly bill, no dependency. Item 10, Stirling engines. External combustion engines running on any heat differential. Hot side, cold side, working gas expands and contracts, drives a piston. Run them on wood, sunlight, campfire waste heat. Near silent. No explosions, no spark plugs. They cycle on thermodynamics. Built right, they operate decades. Why aren't these everywhere? Too versatile, too permanent. If everyone generated power from any heat source, the fuel industry collapses. Item 11, biogas digesters. Anaerobic bacteria break down organic waste and produce methane. Kitchen scraps, animal manure, human waste. Feed it in, collect gas, burn for cooking or power. Garbage becomes fuel. Self-sustaining, no supply chain, no delivery. Why isn't this standard? Because it creates true energy independence. No propane deliveries, no monthly bills. You become producer, not consumer. Utilities need monthly customers, recurring revenue. These technologies solve energy permanently. That makes them business threats. Information is the new oil, and they control the refineries. Every book you own on Kindle can be deleted remotely. Amazon has done it. Your cloud storage requires permission to access. Your digital library exists at the discretion of platforms that can decide overnight you've violated terms of service. In a crisis, when you need technical knowledge most, they can cut you off, revoke access, claim server failures, disappear entire databases. Digital information is fragile by design. It requires power. It requires internet. It requires corporate cooperation. And all of that can be withdrawn instantly. But there are information storage systems that don't require any of it. Systems that preserve knowledge permanently and can't be remotely erased. Item 12, microfilm and microfiche readers with blank film stock. Analog information storage. The information density is extraordinary. An entire encyclopedia fits on film smaller than a deck of cards. Technical manuals, medical references, agricultural guides, all compressed onto celluloid through photographic reduction. Shelf life exceeds 500 years if stored properly. Cool, dry, dark conditions. The film doesn't degrade like hard drives. It doesn't require power to store. Reading it requires only magnification. A simple optical reader, no electronics, just lenses and light. Why did this technology disappear from consumer use? Because analog can't be censored remotely. Once you have information on film, it's yours. Nobody can update it. Nobody can delete sections. Nobody can push corrections or revisions. The knowledge is fixed, permanent, independent. That terrifies information gatekeepers. Item 13, hardbound reference libraries. Physical books containing genuine technical knowledge. Medical texts like Where There Is No Doctor and Emergency War Surgery. Engineering references like Machinery's Handbook. Agricultural guides with crop rotation tables, soil chemistry, seed-saving techniques. Paper doesn't require batteries. Paper doesn't require internet. Paper can be read by candlelight. You can photocopy pages. You can pass books to others without digital rights management stopping you. Physical books are actively discouraged now. Publishers push digital subscriptions. Libraries are cutting physical collections. Why? Because physical books can't be updated or controlled. If you own The Anarchist Cookbook in hard copy, they can't reach into your home and delete the chapters they've decided are too dangerous. Digital copies can be remotely altered. Physical copies are permanent. Item 14, offline Wikipedia dumps on SD cards. The entire text of Wikipedia compressed into approximately 20 gigabytes without images. That's all human knowledge. Portable, fits on a card smaller than your thumbnail, requires only a basic e-reader or laptop to access, can be printed selectively for reference, no internet connection needed, no permission required. Why isn't this promoted? Because information independence breaks the control model. If you can access the sum of human knowledge offline, you don't need their search engines. You don't need their platforms. You don't generate data they can monetize. You become informationally self-sufficient. Item 15. Shortwave radio receivers. Receive-only devices that pick up broadcasts from across the globe. The physics is elegant. Radio waves in the shortwave spectrum bounce off the ionosphere. Signals from Europe can reach North America. Signals from Asia reach Africa. You can hear news, information, broadcasts from regions your government doesn't want you accessing. And because the receiver doesn't transmit, it can't be located. Listening is passive. You're invisible. Why are shortwave receivers never advertised to general consumers? Because governments can't control what you hear. They can jam local FM stations. They can shut down internet. They can control domestic media. But they can't stop ionospheric propagation. Shortwave signals ignore borders and geofencing. You can hear the other side of every story. The pattern is consistent. They want you dependent on systems they control. Systems they can update, censor, revoke. These 4 items preserve knowledge permanently and grant information access they can't interrupt. Rationing is control. Every MRE has a tracking number. Every case of bottled water can be cut off. FEMA distribution centers decide who gets food based on compliance. Not cooperative? You don't eat. That's the leverage. That's how populations get managed. There are ways to produce food and water that bypass distribution entirely. Systems that can't be rationed because they're self-perpetuating. Item 16. Heirloom seed banks. Open-pollinated, non-hybrid seeds. The difference is genetic. Hybrid seeds. F1 varieties sold by Monsanto and other agribusiness giants are engineered sterile. Plant them, grow food, save the seeds, and the next generation doesn't breed true. Reduced yields, genetic drift, weak plants. You have to buy seeds every year. That's intentional. Seed dependency is the business model. Heirloom seeds are different, genetically stable, open-pollinated. You plant them, harvest, save seeds, and the next generation grows identical to the parent. One purchase equals infinite growing seasons. You become a seed producer, not a seed consumer. Why doesn't every survival guide emphasize this? Because Big Ag needs annual seed sales. Heirloom seeds threaten that revenue completely. Item 17. Atmospheric water generators. Machines that extract water from air through condensation. The physics is simple. Pull air through a cooling element, water vapor condenses, collect it. Works anywhere humidity exceeds 30%. Desert regions struggle, but most inhabited areas have sufficient moisture. A small unit produces 5 to 10 gallons daily. Scales up easily. Water utilities lose control when you can pull water from air. No pipes. No municipal supply. No monthly bill. No shutoff valve they can turn. You're producing water independently. They're the most suppressed because they challenge the fundamental assumption that only authorized entities can provide security. Item 18. Pepper spray precursor chemicals. Capsaicin and oleoresin capsicum. These are the active irritant compounds in pepper spray. You can buy them legally. Pure capsaicin is available from chemical suppliers. Oleoresin capsicum extract is sold for food flavoring and agricultural pest deterrent. The chemistry is well documented. Concentration formulas are published. Mix the compound with a propellant carrier, you have pepper spray. Commercial canisters have serial numbers, batch tracking, purchase records. The raw ingredients don't. They're just chemicals. You can order them. You can store them. And if you know the ratios, you can manufacture your own defensive irritants. Why don't retailers promote this? Because commercial pepper spray is a controlled product with liability trails. They want you buying pre-filled canisters that can be traced. They want serial numbers tied to purchases. DIY removes that control. The compound itself can't be banned. It's a plant extract. But they keep the knowledge obscure because widespread production would break the commercial monopoly on less lethal defense tools. Item 19. Level 4 ceramic plate inserts. Body armor rated to stop rifle rounds. Ballistic protection follows NIJ standards. Level 2. A stops handgun rounds up to 40 caliber. Level 3 IA stops 44 Magnum and below. Level 3 stops rifle rounds up to 7.62 by 51 mm NATO. Level 4 stops armor-piercing rifle rounds, .30-06 AP, 7.62 mm AP. That's the highest civilian rating. Ceramic composite plates, boron carbide or silicon carbide, bonded to aramid backing. Stops a bullet by shattering it and distributing the kinetic energy across the plate surface. Many jurisdictions restrict body armor ownership. Some states ban it for convicted felons. Some prohibit wearing it during commission of a crime. But the underlying message is clear. They want you to need permission to not be shot. An armed population wearing armor is exponentially harder to control through force. Armor equalizes threat dynamics. You can't intimidate someone who's protected. That terrifies control structures. The armor exists. You can buy it. But the systematic discouragement, the legal gray areas, the cultural messaging that only criminals wear body armor, it's all designed to keep you vulnerable, exposed, reliant on their protection. Item 20. Plans for 3D printed Liberator pistol. This is information, not the gun itself. The original Liberator was a single-shot .380 pistol designed by Defense Distributed, files released online in 2013. The ATF and State Department tried to suppress distribution. Courts ruled, the plans are protected speech under the First Amendment. You can't ban information. The files exist. They're distributed. They can be printed on consumer-grade 3D printers with standard PLA plastic. The gun fires once, maybe twice before structural failure. It's not tactically effective. That's not the point. The point is this. When the plans for manufacturing a firearm are speech, when the means of production are distributed, when anyone with a printer can create a functional weapon, the government's monopoly on force becomes unenforceable. They can ban sales, they can regulate factories, but they can't stop information from spreading. And they can't uninvent a technology. This terrifies control structures at the deepest level because it represents the convergence of First Amendment and Second Amendment. Free speech becomes the mechanism for arming populations without asking permission. The cat is out of the bag. The knowledge exists. And knowledge can't be confiscated. Items 18 through 20 share one critical trait. They challenge the idea that only authorized entities can provide security. When citizens can defend themselves, protect themselves, and manufacture the means to do so without asking permission, the relationship changes fundamentally. Subject becomes sovereign. Dependent becomes autonomous. Manageable becomes ungovernable. This is the real prohibition. Not legal bans. Systematic discouragement, cultural stigma, obscurity. Because if everyone knew about these items, if everyone understood that defense doesn't require permission, control through intimidation ends. Look at the list again. Fish antibiotics, one-time pads, micro-hydro turbines, heirloom seeds, body armor. What do they all have in common? They make you a bad customer. Pattern 1. Permanent solutions and recurring revenue. Heirloom seeds mean you buy once and grow food forever. Every year you don't buy new seeds is revenue lost to Big Ag. Micro-hydro means you generate power indefinitely. Every month you don't pay an electric bill is revenue lost to utilities. Medical knowledge that lets you treat infections without prescriptions is revenue lost to pharmaceutical companies. The modern business model requires you to keep buying. These items let you buy once and solve the problem permanently. That's a catastrophe for companies built on subscription models and planned obsolescence. Pattern 2. Decentralized tools resist control. One-time pads can't be backdoored by intelligence agencies. Atmospheric water generators can't be shut off by municipal utilities. Offline knowledge can't be censored by platforms. Meshtastic networks can't be killed by taking out a central server. When the tools are distributed, when the means of production are in your hands, control becomes impossible. They can't cut you off. They can't throttle your access. They can't decide you've violated terms of service. The tool works because of physics or chemistry or mathematics, not because someone grants permission. Pattern 3. Self-sufficiency is ungovernable. When you don't need their medicine, their power, their food, their information, or their protection, you can't be managed through scarcity. You can't be controlled by threatening to cut you off. The entire leverage model collapses. Modern economies aren't built on solving problems. They're built on managing dependencies. Create a need, then rent the solution. Subscriptions, planned obsolescence, artificial scarcity. Keep customers dependent. Keep them coming back. A customer who solves their problem permanently is a customer lost forever. These 20 items violate that model completely. They're not banned by law. Most of them are perfectly legal to own. They're banned by silence, by obscurity, by being kept off the shelves at Walmart and buried in search results. Because if everyone knew these items existed, if everyone understood that independence doesn't require permission, the dependency economy breaks. None of this is illegal to own. Not the fish antibiotics, not the micro hydro turbines, not the heirloom seeds. Items 18 through 20 require you to verify local laws, particularly regarding body armor and manufacturing restrictions. But the barrier isn't legality, it's knowledge. And here's how you find what they won't show you. Agricultural supply stores carry veterinary medications and heirloom seeds. Surplus and tactical retailers stock navigation equipment and body armor. Industrial suppliers sell raw chemicals and materials. Open-source repositories host plans and information. International markets exist where U.S. commercial restrictions don't apply. The items are available. You just have to know they exist and where to look. If you have to ask permission to own something, you're still dependent. These 20 items aren't about hoarding. They're about capability. They're about understanding why things work, not just owning stuff. True preparedness isn't stockpiling what they sell at the store. It's understanding the science they don't advertise. The 20 items are representatives of principles: permanence over obsolescence, independence over dependency, knowledge over ignorance, self-sufficiency over managed scarcity. Fish antibiotics represent medical autonomy. Microhydro represents energy independence. Heirloom seeds represent food sovereignty. Body armor represents the right to protection without permission. Each item is a category. Each category is an exit from a system designed to keep you subscribed. What's item 21? What have you found that solves a problem so completely it's suspicious they don't promote it? Drop it in the comments. The more we share, the harder we are to control. Preparedness isn't about war. It's about not needing permission to survive. Physics doesn't recognize authority. Chemistry doesn't respect borders. And knowledge can't be confiscated.